Welcome to the Tunabudget Podcast, your source for insights into financial wellness. Today we're diving into the mechanics, the big how of a Tunabudget Worksheet Plan. At Tunabudget.com, home of the Tunabudget Worksheet Plan and candid conversation memos, we offer resources that simplify budget life planning. We encourage discussions about real-life challenges affecting our finances. Don't forget to submit your candid conversation memo at Tunabudget.com. Let's get started. The spreadsheet concept, an electronic spreadsheet. Use your favorite electronic spreadsheet. Start with a copy of the Tunabudget Worksheet Plan, the free template on Tunabudget.com, since it's all preloaded with a seasoned formatting that has been used for years. Make it totally your own, though. The rows and columns can be expanded or deleted as desired. The titles and descriptions can be changed to fit your own categories, too. If married or have a partner, make it a consolidated plan. Keep it as comprehensive, simple, or basic as desired. Yes, there is an order of inputs, though, that will help in the development of the plan, starting with assets. Assets. Start by filling in on the balance sheet assets. Keep it very high level and generalized, as it's only there for overall high-level reference purposes. So just use aggregated or consolidated asset classes and amounts. List the assets for both spouses. Or if you prefer, expand your Tunabudget Worksheet Plan and make it as detailed as you want. After all, it's all yours anyway. Assets are an important part of the overall financial well-being picture for an individual and or a family. Listing assets on the Tunabudget Worksheet Plan gives you the ability to quickly track, understand, and see what you have to work with when considering options to mix up the asset composition. You may choose to sell any of the assets to adjust down your liabilities and your monthly expenses. You may also have equity and could downsize and reduce and pay off debt. Okay, the next section is the income. Start by focusing on listing each of the household's net income sources for the first few months or so. The net take-home cash amount is to be listed. Be sure to include the net or the income sources for both spouses. That's the amount you have available to spend to take care of the expenses and debt repayments and savings and so on. You'll likely see a pattern that emerges of recurring income amounts, all given repeated dates, like 2 times a month. Pay periods are for every date you expect to receive income. If you get paid twice a month, put those pay dates in the worksheet. If there are 2 incomes and both get paid twice a month, put those dates in too. All income sources need to be accounted for. Feel free to adjust the template to match up with the dates you expect to receive any income. Once you've been able to establish estimated income, together with the dates you expect to receive that income, you can copy and paste more columns out for next year or so. Because you are pre-spending your life's income on an electronic spreadsheet, you can easily change any payment amounts with a copy and paste feature as well. But as you fill out the income section, you're probably going to be thinking to yourself that you're being underpaid maybe, or that there's just not enough money. That's also okay. Trust me. All these feelings are normal. Regardless of what you're thinking, keep going. Don't forget to add any dates and any amounts for irregular income, such as tax returns, bonuses, the proceeds from the sale of a car or some other asset, or whatever the case may be. Put it all in there. The total net actual cash income will automatically add up all the income sources in each column. That income amount will be then used to reconcile against all the expense sources, and the differences will automatically be calculated at the bottom of each column. This will enable you to adjust the payments down to where the income sources will match with the expenses. It's a reconciliation. Next, the expense categories on the left margin. Okay? Complete the expense category section to line up with all the expense types you have. There's a global master list of normal, typical expenses there. Most people's budgets will fit in using some of those and just delete the ones you don't want, of course, or add the new ones that you want. But include each expense category for both spouses and the entire family. It's yours, so customize it to yours. Of course, you can expand or change or otherwise adjust, and in the title names can even be changed to match up with your situation. But use the expense labels from the Tunabudget Worksheet Plan to begin this process, as it has, again, plenty of segmented areas to build from. Just change the label titles or expense categories in the order of priority of importance to you, if you prefer. Put together your own expense categories the best you can, but be sure to list everything. Give them your own labeled names so they are readily recognizable to you. Boilerplate names are not that useful or personal, so personalize them with your own names. Over time, you'll adjust these expense categories anyway, as life changes. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can and should be updated regularly. If you don't catch everything this time through, maybe you will next time. It's no big deal. It's a big deal to get started and to follow up on the subsequent drafts over time, though. Continuing to complete, go to the liabilities section now, okay? This is going to list everything, list all your liabilities, everything you owe to whomever and in whatever amounts. This includes your spouse's debts too. List all the expense categories that you have in your life. There's always plenty of room to list your whole life on there, okay? List the full amount you owe as of the current date. Okay, does it have to be 100% accurate on the first draft? Of course not. But because you're going to be paying very close attention to debt levels, most people want to go see the debt numbers down to the nearest dollar. So you'll get there too, rest assured. Go ahead and look up everything if you must to get good numbers. The big number, the total at the bottom, it may cause you to think, I'll never get this repaid, or this will never work. There's no use even trying, right? Don't be silly. There's a solution for every problem, even all of yours. Yes, all of yours. These initial thoughts you're experiencing are actually a very good start to a very special process. And very good things will start to happen inside your mind, and what potential changes you may want or must make that'll come. For today, as you start this, however, you may go into justification mode and start saying things like, oh, it's not that much compared to so-and-so, or this is what it takes to live these days, stuff like that. Of course, many people will justify in their mind what's there. That's fine for now, too. So however this goes, just get busy and list all the liabilities. There's a column called monthly payments. List the estimated or the actual monthly payment or spend amounts for everything that applies to you and your situation. So this goes for any expense amounts. If you're paying $200 on fuel expense or gas expense for your vehicle, then put $200 in there. We're looking for monthly amounts here. This includes those of your spouse and for all of your family too that you're responsible for, if it's a family budget. Don't worry at all about what the total is. Just for now, just put all the numbers in there for each area, and it'll add it all up for you automatically. Then note the grand total. You'll start to think again, and you'll express shock at how much everything costs. Wow, that's a ton of money, and I'll never be able to quit my job or even get fired, or I need to find a better job. As panic possibly sets in, take a breath and relax. If you must step away and calm down, do it. There is no race here. We're not even to the fun part yet. List the expenses as best you can. Look at bank statements or credit card statements and see where you've been spending money for, say, the last several months or so. And note how much money is being spent in your expense categories. Loan payments should be easy to figure out, so list those. If the debts are listed, then once they're repaid, you'd be out of debt, right? The monthly payments will include all the debts and all the expenses spent in a given full month. Okay? Now, this short ad is sponsored by the Debt Crisis Problem Podcast. Attention listeners, please join us at tunabudget.com to tune into the Debt Crisis Problem Podcast, where in plain English, we discuss the 20 risks that could soon fuel a serious economic downturn. We explore these critical risks and offer practical insights for navigating financial uncertainty. Join us for thought-provoking discussions that encourage transparency and awareness. Subscribe now to stay informed and be ready for whatever comes next. Next is pretend spend or pre-spend, however you want to look at it. Okay, so it's true that you like to spend money, right? Well then, the Tunabudget Worksheet Plan is right for you too. Start to pretend spend or pre-spend the monthly payment amounts from each of the income amounts or amount column sections by date. For example, if you have a monthly payment, divide it up over a couple of pay periods. Okay? Remember, this is not a budget. It is more than that. The Tunabudget Worksheet Plan is just that, a plan. It's a process that you continually work through. So you literally start by spending your immediate and future income on paper, if you would, on the spreadsheet. Since you know the date for when payments are due, go ahead and pre-spend the income to cover each expense by its next due date. Make sure you allocate funds to cover the expense category and payment amount until the next income or date or the amount of a paycheck. You're literally pre-spending your future paychecks, but virtually. That's it. Simple. Remember, this is all about developing a plan to see what pretending to spend amounts or pre-spend, how it fits and how it works and what makes sense. You play with it a little bit. Don't get too excited just yet. If you're starting to see that there isn't enough money to cover the expenses, welcome to the 99% Club. When there is little to no income, even during those difficult times of being laid off or sick or disabled, and when there isn't an income at all, the Tunabudget Worksheet Plan is exactly what you need. Maybe there are some limited unemployment checks coming in or help from others. Whatever the income is or isn't, list all of that. If it's zero, then put zero. It's a very humbling time where there's no income coming in and you've reached your rock bottom. Many a person has found God anew for sure. But to list it all out of your head where it spins around there in a circle, that's way too much overload, okay? It's better to unload the full weight of the current reality, regardless of how dire it is, and let it disconnect from you. That's why it goes in the worksheet. Okay? You know where it's being stored, so it isn't going anywhere. This way, you still own it, but it's out of your head and it's sitting there in a laptop, okay, separate from you. So now relax and know that you're doing your best, and solutions will come as they always do. And when there's all these negative balances at the end of each column, you might say, "Well, would you look at that?" You might start to laugh or even cry, but it can just sit there for today and tonight. And it will get revisited in the next day or so if necessary, right? Meanwhile, something special starts to happen as you go through this process. If you're humble, right? New ideas will come to mind, and those will be the solutions you'll pursue with excitement, with hope. It will get contagious. If you go the the pride pity party route, you'll surely upset the apple cart. Just don't go there. The choice is yours, so make the right decision. The Tunabudget Worksheet Plan will have set you up for success and done its job. This is now all up to you. You can do this. There is no doubt about it. Just be really, really humble, and the answers will start to come. The next phase, or I think this is the last phase, is to reconcile those numbers, okay? The expenses with the income. It's all got to be recognized and spread out there and paid and balanced out, right? This is the slick part of using a spreadsheet for a Tunabudget Worksheet Plan, is that the columns automatically add up all the income sources, the expenses, and subtract the expenses from the income, so you can readily see any surplus or deficiency amounts at the bottom of each column. Here you finally get to play around with the numbers, creating new opportunities like, well, what if we did this, or what if we did that? Like the Grand Slammer, what could my Tunabudget plan really look like if we sold the house? You can put that all in the plan. Actually, you can even save different drafts of it for different scenarios that involved major changes like moving or selling assets. This can also include big upward promotions or downward, layoffs, income adjustments too. But have some fun with this, okay? Even though it can be a challenging process, especially up front, because the numbers, like for most people who have heavy debt loads, will not add up. But work at it. Play with the numbers. It's only a draft anyway. It's an electronic spreadsheet. It can't hurt you. It can only help you. Adjust the numbers to get your income and your expenses to balance as best you can. In some cases, there will be excess income to dump into savings or to be used some other way, like reducing debt. In many, many cases, there will be insufficient income or too many expenses to reconcile and come out even. This is what the Tunabudget Worksheet Plan does for you. It literally shows you and your spouse or partner to see that things don't add up and that changes will need to be made. So hang in there. Just start to take it in. Okay? It's supposed to be a little bit difficult at first, and maybe it's overwhelming. That's fine. You can do this, though. Put it all on the back burner if you need to cool it off for a couple of days. Okay? Good things will start to happen. Okay, the mind will start to generate solutions. Your Tunabudget Worksheet Plan is your friend, not your enemy. Sooner or later, the books will always balance. So step up and get this handled. If you're married or have a partner, and usually one spouse in the marriage likes to do the budgeting, to fill this out, to sit down with the other spouse and listen with love and understanding, right? Listen to the spouse that hates this stuff, and adjust the worksheet as he or she would like to see it. Put your spouse first. So, give it some thought and come back later and counsel together in love and respect if you need to, okay? If contention starts to flare up, you're in the wrong. So back off, cool it down, and get control. There's no hurry here, and so give it time. Work together, laugh, and have some fun, okay? Lead out with kindness and deference to the other spouse. Thank you for joining us. Today we explored the mechanics, the how, highlighting the importance of open conversations in financial wellness. When we want to hear from you at tunabudget.com, submit your candid conversation memo and share your insights. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe for future podcasts. Until next time, visit tunabudget.com for your free Tunabudget Worksheet Plan, the most powerful budget worksheet plan in the world, yours. Thanks again.